Alright, hey guys, what's going on? This is Space here, and I meant to make this video last week, but sadly I was sick, so I didn't really think you guys wanted to hear, me talking about Star Wars like this. So, episode 1's my favorite. No, okay, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. But anyways, so we're going to be talking about Star Wars today, or if you remember, I think that was in May, or April, or Maypril, like a new month between April and May, I don't know. But we talked about the MCU, and now we'll be talking about the SWU, the Star Wars universe, I guess. And also be making a video on Spider-Man Homecoming, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll just wait and make a video on Phase 4, even though Spider-Man Homecoming isn't part of Phase 4, but I'll add it in before, I don't know, anyways, but let's just talk about Star Wars, alright? Just do it. Alright, so keep in mind there are spoilers in this video. For some reason you haven't seen Star Wars, what the heck are you doing? But, alright. So, I'm going to be going through these in order of release. And, yeah. And don't count this as a review. I guess I'm kind of reviewing them a little bit, maybe? But I'm just more or less just going through them. We're only talking about the movies. We're not going to be talking about Clone Wars. We'll talk about the Clone Wars movie, maybe, I guess. And also, maybe I'll make another video where we talk about the Clone Wars series. We won't be talking about Rebels, just the movies, and no, we won't be talking about the Christmas special. We might make that for a different movie. And I'm looking at this, I looked up Star Wars movies on Google, and apparently Star Trek is part of Star Wars. I didn't know that, so that's pretty interesting. And also the Hidden Fortress is part of Star Wars, Willow is part of Star Wars, Red Tails is part of Star Wars, Indiana Jones is part of Star Wars, American Graffiti is part of Star Wars, so they've really expanded the Star Wars movies a lot, so we're just only going to focus on the main ones though, with like actual Star Wars in the name. So sorry if you were looking forward to me talking about Star Trek in this episode too, but I don't know, maybe we'll work on that later. We'll talk about the expanded universe of Star Wars later, I guess, all the Star Trek stuff. Okay, anyways, so of course Star Wars started off with the first movie called Star Wars, also known as Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. That was before George Lucas was like, hey, what if I just go back, and these were you guys watch these out of order, get fooled, now you have to watch my rest of the movies too, so eat that, give me the money, okay? So episode 4 / episode 1, because it's the first episode, technically, but okay. So that one, I love it so much. It never gets old. It's a timeless movie. It does kind of have that 70s feel in terms of like the way it looks, in terms of like the film and stuff, but like the movie itself doesn't really feel like a movie that was made in the 70s. It just feels like it could have been made any time at all, and it still would be like it is, I guess. Like if you made it modern times, I guess it would be like really like modern looking with like a bunch of lens flares and stuff, but you know, it just feels like a movie that could have been made any time, and such a great way to start off the series. I think it might be my favorite, honestly, even though I do admit Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie of all, but my personal favorite is probably this one. I've seen it so many times. It's got so many iconic moments in it, including the binary sunset scene and the trench run, especially at the end of the movie. And, you know, the whole Death Star sequence there is just so classic and just so amazing. All of the actors are so amazing in this movie. Mark Hamill, of course, Carrie Fisher, you've got Alec Guinness, you've got Harrison Ford, you've got Peter Mayhew, you've got just everybody. Anthony Daniels, just everyone. It's so great in this movie. And, And this movie, the opening scene too is like incredibly iconic. A lot of this stuff, a lot of parodies and stuff have been made with Star Wars, like parody sequences and stuff, like probably in like a bunch of TV shows and whatnot. Especially the opening scene of A New Hope. It's just so iconic and amazing that yes, been used so many times. And the music, of course, by John Williams. All the music in this movie, all the music in this movie and all the music in this series is great. But this is the one that started it all, with John Williams himself doing the score, and just so many amazing themes in this, from the trench run music to once again Binary Sunset. Such a classic theme and such a powerful theme. Like when I hear that theme, I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm getting some goosebumps. And yes, episode 4 / just Star Wars in general. The movie Star Wars, not the whole series, is amazing. Just such a great movie. And surprisingly, they topped it in Empire Strikes Back. Yes, Empire Strikes Back is one of those sequels that just does everything right and does everything better than the original, and it's just so impressive. I'm glad that this one didn't fail. It actually wasn't directed by George Lucas, if you didn't know that. I don't remember who directed it. I don't know, honestly, but I'm not going to look it up because I'm too lazy. And, so, of course, you have a lot of iconic scenes there. You've got the carbon freezing chamber. That whole fight there is really cool. Probably one of the coolest fight sequences in Star Wars, with all of the red and blue, just like the nice colors, and just the drawn out fights between Darth Vader and Luke, not knowing who will survive. Well, of course, you know, if you have seen like at least part of Return of the Jedi before watching that, or know that there's another movie after it, you would assume that Luke would survive. But yeah, it's just it's a tense scene. It's got some like just great moments of Luke walking around, and like you feel the tension because you don't know where Darth Vader is, and then suddenly he's there. It's like, oh god, yeah, it's great. Everyone in this movie, I feel like their characters go in a really good direction. From Han and Leia, like their sort of romance building. The introduction of Lando, amazing. I love Billy D. Williams and Lando, such a great character. You also have, of course, the building of Luke becoming a Jedi Knight, and you know, his training with Yoda, also a new character in the movie. And he's a great character too. He's like the kind of like trickster character, you know, like you think he's just some old guy that's just living on a swamp planet, but really he's a Jedi Master. Yeah, I thought that was great. And yeah, the whole training sequence too is really iconic as well. It's been done a lot of times. Phineas and Ferb did it too, so you know, yeah, just great stuff in there. And I like that they separate Han and Leia and everyone from Luke. So like, it gives Luke more time to develop on his own, well, with Yoda as well, but you know, like, away from the characters. Of course, he has R2 as well, but, and then it also gives Han and Leia and everyone a chance to, like, go on their own little adventure too, like to Cloud City, and eventually it all comes together. Boom, Luke's there too, and you get some more Boba Fett action. That's great. And yes, so I feel like it all perfectly ties together. They start together, and they separate, and then they come back together. It's great. And it gives you a good place to leave off and move on to the sequel, to Return of the Jedi, which we'll be talking about in a second. Also, the beginning sequence of this movie is also very iconic. The Hoth battle is just so darn iconic, and also used a lot too. As you see, there's a trend here of Star Wars being really iconic, and there's a good reason for that. Alright, so Return of the Jedi, also once called Revenge of the Jedi, which sounds really weird, but thankfully it's Return of the Jedi. That's great. And yeah, this movie, I really like this movie a lot too. I know most people say it's their least favorite of the original trilogy, as well as I've seen some people say, oh, Revenge of the Sith is better. What? But you know, I feel like this one, either this one or A New Hope is my favorite, but I still really like Empire Strikes Back, of course. Empire Strikes Back, I think, is the best, but it isn't my favorite, but I still really like it a lot. So anyways, I'm getting off track here. So, Return of the Jedi, it also has another iconic opening title sequence. It is of, you know, just the plan to get Han Solo back. I thought that was great. A great way to move into the next movie. Just so in Empire Strikes Back, of course, Han Solo gets frozen in carbonite, which of course is another iconic scene. There's so many iconic scenes. Jeez, okay. And he gets taken away to Jabba's palace, and now they're going to rescue Han. I almost said they're going to rescue Jabba. No rescuing Jabba. In fact, they kill him. So I thought that was great. That was a really great way to start the movie. That's like the first 30 minutes or so. And yeah, I thought that was just great. I don't know. Just seeing everyone again. And Luke is a Jedi Knight now. He's got a green lightsaber. Well, technically he isn't a Jedi until he defeats Vader or whatever. But, you know, whatever. And you also have some more, like, mystery. Like, you know, before in Empire Strikes Back, you have, no, I am your father. And now you get to find out that Luke is actually related to Leia, too, yes. And they are brother and sister. And, yeah, it's pretty cool. I thought that was a interesting twist to throw in there. And, like, Leia has, like, some sort of Force abilities, too, which we'll touch on a little later. Anyways, yeah, and just like the whole course of the movie, I thought it was good. They go on the moon of Endor. Yes, the moon, not actually Endor itself. And the forest moon of Endor, and you get to see the Ewoks, which are interesting characters. You know, I thought they're pretty good, pretty cool race. There's like warrior teddy bears, which is pretty fun. And the whole sequence on Endor, I thought was really good too, like these speeder bikes and stuff. Like, there's so many games that they do that, and I love them. I love that sequence so much. Like, playing that Like there's this old joystick game that used to do that. There was, of course, Lego Star Wars has that, obviously. And yeah, just fun sequence. I really like the Endor scene. And then the final confrontation with Emperor Palpatine / Darth Vader. You get to fight, Luke gets to fight Darth Vader. And then he gets to fight the Emperor. Oh, I guess he really doesn't fight him. He just kind of gets electrocuted. And then Vader's like, no, that's a special edition. Don't talk to me about those. But yeah, so yeah, that was interesting. Vader is actually the hero in the end. Like he was of course the chosen one. In the prophecy, he was supposed to bring balance to the Force, and I guess he kind of did it in the end, so he kind of is the chosen one, but also Luke could be the chosen one, I don't know. But, yeah, I thought that was, a good way to end off the series. You get to see Darth Vader die, which, actually is kind of a sad moment. You think that, seeing Darth Vader be like, yes, finally, he got him, but no, they actually start to make it sad. You're like, oh. And the music in the end sequence, I think it's called Battle of Endor, 2, I don't know. But it's really good. It's good stuff. You should look at it or listen to it if you haven't. And then you, of course, have the ending, which I felt was like the perfect ending as a kid. It's like, this is the perfect ending right here for Star Wars. Just them on the moon of Endor, the forest moon of Endor. They're just having a big party, and you get to hear, not Yub Nub, that sounds like something from like a Disney ride, but you get to hear, oh god, what is it called? I don't remember what it's called, but it's just such a great ending theme that I'm so glad they changed it, and it just fills me with so much nostalgia when I hear it. It's just, so good. I don't think it's called Celebration Theme, but it might be, I don't know. But, it's so good, and, yes, I really like Return of the Jedi. I think it might be either my second favorite or my first favorite. I don't know. I always flip-flop between that and A New Hope / just Star Wars. So, there we go. So, you thought it was over, right? No, that was just the original trilogy. So yeah, I do feel like that was a great ending to the series, but I'm glad that they continued it. So, here we go. Let's move on to the prequel trilogy. Yes, everyone's favorites. And actually, people right now have been going a little easier on the prequels, which I appreciate. I grew up with the prequels too. I was growing up in the time where the prequels were coming out. I even saw Revenge of the Sith in the theater. So yeah, I have a soft spot for them. I watched them a lot as a kid. And yes. So alright, so Phantom Menace. So, I actually remember when I was a kid, I had this like Qui-Gon action figure that like his arms kept on breaking off, so we kept on having to glue them back on, but they always seemed to fall off again. It was pretty funny. But it would have been even funnier if he lost his arms in the movie, because then it would be like, oh, well, I don't need to glue these back. Okay, this is getting weird. Anyway, so, Phantom Menace. This is like the return of Star Wars. After so many years, it is finally back, and we're ready for it. And I personally think this one is maybe a little underrated, It's not like the best Star Wars movie ever, but it could have been a lot worse, I think. I thought that, like, the opening sequence, I feel like is still, like, iconic as well. It's not, of course, as iconic as, say, like the opening sequence of A New Hope, but I think it's still a great scene. Negotiations in Lego Star Wars, the complete saga. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool opening sequence, starting off with a young Obi-Wan, which I think was a great concept to explore, like Obi-Wan back before he became an old dude and before he became a ghost. I thought that was cool. And you get to see, of course, Padme, which becomes Luke and Leia's mother, and you also get to see young Anakin too. And you get to see Qui-Gon, which was Obi-Wan's master, of course. There's a little retconning here and there in the prequel trilogy when you look back at A New Hope, but it's not the worst thing that could happen. So, yeah, I thought Darth Maul was a cool villain. There's some cool characters introduced here. Jar Jar. I don't think he's all that bad. He's not the best character, obviously, but I thought he was like, it's fine. It's just adding some humor to the whole movie. The pod racing scene. Ooh, so cool. I saw it in when they re-released it in 3D. That was really cool to see in 3D, like the pod racing scene. Ooh, so cool. And then, of course, you have Duel of the Fates. The music in this movie is really good, especially, like I said, Duel of the Fates when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and Darth Maul are all fighting in that one, like, room thing. Like, I don't even know what exactly that is for, but it's cool nonetheless. It's really cool. That was a great scene. Great fight sequence. I don't know if it was, like, the best, per se, in the prequels. Probably not, actually. I'd probably say the best is probably just Episode 3 in general, probably in terms of, like, the fights and stuff. But yeah, that was a really cool fight scene, up there with some of the best lightsaber duels in the movies. And yeah, overall I thought it was pretty good. The politics, there's some politics in there, some galactic politics. Unlike in the original trilogy, you don't really see any politics stuff, but I thought that was interesting. Just seeing how the galaxy worked before the Empire took over. I thought that was interesting. And yeah. You also get the introduction of some characters that you see later on in the series, like Mace Windu. You get to see Yoda again. You get to see some more Jedi characters, which I thought was cool. And yeah, so episode 1 could have been worse, I think. I thought it was pretty good. Alright, so, speaking of worse, Attack of the Clones. So, I honestly really enjoyed this movie. I do admit it has its problems, but I find it enjoyable. Like, the dialogue is a little rough in places, especially with Padme and Anakin is very, very rough. But I still find this an enjoyable movie. Not like, say, Batman and Robin level enjoyable, like where you just like it's just so darn bad you just have to enjoy it. But I still think this one has some redeeming qualities to it, and yeah, I think it's pretty decent. You know, it could have been worse, like I said before. But yeah, it could have been better too. But yeah, the battle sequences are really cool. You've got the Geonosis Arena. Good lord, you have the droid factory. Also, you have Jango Fett, which I must say is a very good character. The battle on Kamino. Ooh, that's so cool. I love that scene, and I love Jango in general. And seeing a young Boba too is pretty cool, even though he's don't know, he's just I don't know, he's just kind of weird, honestly. But the clones too, that was a cool idea. Of course, Obi-Wan mentions the Clone Wars to well, actually, Luke mentions it. You were my father. You fought my father in the Clone Wars, or whatever. And yeah, that was cool seeing that. Cool seeing you get battle droids in this again. You know, they're introduced in the first one, but then you also have super battle droids, which are introduced here, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, you have some fun action scenes. You've got some romance scenes, which are a little rough. You got the opening scene, which is really good too. The Star Wars seems to know how to do some good opening scenes. Yeah, there's you got Obi-Wan and Anakin going after like that bounty hunter. Well, I guess okay, not the opening scene, like the opening scene where it's just like Padme like getting off her ship and it just blows up and stuff. But I'm talking about like the opening scene with Zam, where they're going after her. I thought that was cool. In Coruscant, that was cool. I hate it when he does that. And yeah, overall, like I said before, this movie does have its problems, but I think there are some redeeming qualities, and I still think it is an enjoyable movie to watch. You know, there's some scenes you're like, oh, please, George, why? But other scenes you're like, yeah, this is cool. Okay, now, Count Dooku, really good villain, I must say. I thought he was good. I feel like he's underutilized, though. Like, he just kills him off in the third movie. I feel like he would have been a better villain to, like, explore more of, maybe in the third movie, but, you know, you get to see him in the Clone Wars and stuff, so, you know, it's fine. It all works out. Yeah, so he's a good villain, but the final battle and the lightsaber duel with Anakin and Obi-Wan, and just like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The fight with Yoda is pretty good, cool too. If you look at the fight with Anakin and Count Dooku in the dark, okay, it looks cool, but when you really look at it, it just looks kind of stupid. It's like they keep on missing like every single hit. They're just like waving their lightsabers around. It's so goofy, but it looks cool, so at least it has that going for it. Anyways, so we're gonna be moving on to Revenge of the Sith, the final installment of the prequel trilogy. That's right, 3 in a trilogy, unheard of. All right, so yeah, this movie is actually like really good. Like I feel like it's definitely the best of the prequels. I do still admit it does have its faults, but I feel like the faults aren't as big as say the faults in Attack of the Clones. So, of course, you get to see an older Anakin, which I thought was really good. I feel like Anakin in Episode 2 was fine. I thought it was pretty good. But Anakin in here is actually even better. Sorry if you hear my mouse clicking. I don't know why I like mess around with stuff while I'm recording, but I do. Anyways, so Anakin was good in here. You get to see an older Obi-Wan too. Like Obi-Wan for the ages has been great. I love that they added that aspect into the movies. Get to see more Obi-Wan action. Obi-Wan is awesome. You get to see some new villains too. Like you got General Grievous, who is really cool. His first appearance in the movies, which I thought was really cool. He has that, of course, really awesome fight scene with Obi-Wan. That's a highlight of the movie. Even like most of the movie is a highlight of the movie, but you know, some great memes have come from that movie too. The opening sequence as well. Good lord, oh, it's awesome. It's like the battle over Coruscant. The Emperor has been taken. He's been captured. I've always hoped that Clone Wars would end with the Emperor being captured, or sorry, not the Emperor, Palpatine, you know, he's the Emperor, obviously. But I always hoped that would be the end of Clone Wars, so maybe in the next season, that would be so great, I'd love that. But anyways, so you have that whole sequence, that was really cool, that was a great sequence right there. And then you have some other stuff here and there, and you know, just some good stuff all around. The final sequence was great. The Fall of the Jedi was really emotional, really impactful scene. Probably one of the most emotional sequences in the movie. Oh, sorry, in the franchise, I should say. And oh yeah, that was really good. It was also very sad too, but yes. And then of course you have the heartbreaking moment of Obi-Wan finding out that Anakin is a bad boy. He's been killing some people, some younglings, and then you have like the last part of the movie where it's just like basically just a big duel. You have the duel between Yoda and the Emperor, which is pretty darn cool. You get to go to the Senate's room thing with all those chairs and stuff. That was cool. And of course you have Anakin versus Obi-Wan, which is pretty darn cool. It looks awesome. Even though I don't think there's really... The one problems I find with the scene is that there really isn't any tension. You already know what's going to happen. Obi-Wan survives. Anakin gets wrecked somehow, and he still survives as Darth Vader, so you know what happens. But it still looks cool, nonetheless. They put a lot of work into that, and it really shows. It's great. And, yeah, just a lot of cool stuff in that movie. I feel like that was a highlight of the prequels. What a one to go out on. It was great. It perfectly ties the series together. It's a full loop, full circle. The end is just Owen, like, looking out at the sun and stuff, and Obi-Wan, like, hey, here's this boy, take him. And then Bail Organa's like, I'm going to take this girl, give it here. And, yeah. So, yeah, that's, I feel like it was a perfect end to the prequel trilogy, and overall I feel like the prequels were pretty darn good. You know, obviously the original trilogy is superior, but the prequels I think were still pretty good. A nice addition to the movies, the series, a nice addition to my collection. Okay, so before we get into the sequel trilogy as well as Rogue One and Solo, I don't know why I said that, like that, we've got an animated feature, which I remember being so excited for when this came out, because I was like, alright, Star Wars is over. With Revenge of the Sith, like, alright, that's it. They're not going to make any more Star Wars movies, which I don't know why I thought that, but obviously that wasn't true. But, yeah, the animated movie, The Clone Wars, and it was, I noticed that people don't really like this one for some reason. Like, I was looking at the IMDb score, and it's like a 60-something, or I don't even know. Let's look at that right now. Clone Wars movie. Clones movie. Whoops. Clone Wars movie. I put Clones War, whatever. Let's see. What has it got? It's got a 59. Alright, it's got an 18 on Rotten Tomatoes. Alright. So, when I saw this movie, I was, I think, like 9 years old or something, and I remember my friends being so hyped for this movie, and I saw it, I was like, oh boy, yeah, it was so great. I loved it. I thought it was just a lot of fun. And I rewatched it recently, and I was like, you know, this still holds up. I thought it was pretty darn good. You know, it's no Revenge of the Sith or anything, or I don't know where I'd honestly put it if I were to rank the movies, but I thought it was still a good addition. You know, a great way to continue the series through the Clone Wars between episodes 2 and 3, just to fill out the gap in between the movies. So yeah, and of course the series was great too. We're not going to be talking about that too much, but. Yeah, Anakin and Ahsoka. Ahsoka was a good character. Ahsoka was added to the movie. I think this is her first appearance in the series, and I thought she was a good character. Yeah, pretty good. And seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan again, even though they're like played by different people, they did a great job. I like Anakin's voice in the Clone Wars. I think it's really good, even though of course it's not Hayden Christensen, but Christensen. But, what was I going to say? I still think it's a good voice for Anakin, you know, even though it doesn't match with the movies, of course, but still good, yeah. And, yeah, just seeing Star Wars on the big screen is always awesome, and just seeing its resurgence through this animated movie was really cool, and, yeah, I don't really have too much to say about it. The story was pretty good. I like the story. I don't think it's, like, the best story in any Star Wars movie, but I still think it is a pretty good story. Just that one of the Hutt's, Jabba the Hutt's son, Rhoda the Hutt, has been captured or whatever, and like there's big dispute and whatnot and whatever, and all that stuff, and the Clone Wars is going on too. So you get to see some cool battle sequences. Of course, you get Rex too, who is the captain to Anakin, who is a great character as well. And yeah, so many great characters introduced into this movie, and yeah, good stuff. Underrated in my opinion. Alright, here we go. You ready for some controversy? Here we go. Alright, we're going into I almost said the Rise of Skywalker. We're going into the Force Awakens. Alright. So I remember when this was first announced, like, what? I never thought that we'd ever see in episode 7. I remember my friend on the bus in 7th grade said, oh hey, they're gonna make episode 7. And I was like, no way, man, no way. I was like, wait, really? He's like, no man, I'm just messing with you. And then now episode 7 has happened. So who really got messed with, me or him? You decide in the comments. Okay, anyways, yeah, seeing this trailer, I was like, oh my goodness, I was like just so emotional over it. I was like, this is so amazing. And I was just so excited because I was like, dude, I never thought Star Wars would be back on the big screen. Like maybe like for anniversaries, like oh, it's the 40-year anniversary, you're watching. But no, they're actually like new movies. Like wow, I didn't think this would happen. I don't know why I didn't think that would happen though, because it seems pretty obvious. But yeah, so it was it was a very exciting moment seeing that on the big screen. I think I saw it 4 times because I saw it once with my cousins and my uncle and my dad. I saw it with my mom. I saw it somewhere else too, I guess, and I saw it another place too. I don't know, whatever, man. I saw it a few times and I really liked it. So I do admit it played it a little safe in terms of like I don't want to say reboots, but like continuations. I just say it played it a little safe. You know, it stuck to the source a little bit. You know, with following a similar-ish story to A New Hope, while also still being original to it. So I thought that was good. You know, it didn't feel like a ripoff, but it did feel like it was trying to play it safe, which I think was a good idea. Yeah, so the new characters were great. I remember memorizing all the characters' names before the movies. All right, I got to memorize all these. And I like the new characters. I like Kylo. I think he was a good villain. He's like, it's kind of like just like a neo-Nazi, I guess, kind of in a sense, because he sees what Darth Vader did, and he's like, oh, Darth Vader is so cool, man. I want to be just like him. So it's like someone like saying, oh, Hitler is so cool, man. I want to be just like him. So yeah, I thought he was a good character, good addition to the sequel trilogy. I think that really works well with the sequel trilogy. I don't think it would work quite as well with the original trilogies. That really wouldn't make any sense. You're like, who is this person like basing themselves off of? But yeah, but seeing that in the sequels, I thought that was a good idea, a good choice. And then of course you've got Poe, who I really like. I really enjoy Poe. I'm glad he got some more screen time in The Last Jedi, which we'll be talking about in a second. I also like Finn too. Finn was a good addition to the movie. I thought he was great. It's kind of a nice, fun character, really enjoyable character. You also have, of course, Rey, who is kind of a twist character. Like, you don't think she's a Jedi. Like, in the trailer, it's like it shows Finn holding the lightsaber and whatnot. But then, she's a Jedi. That was pretty cool. Yeah, so I thought she was a pretty good character. Pretty enjoyable character. I like her sequence on Jakku. I thought that was good. And just how everything tied together, I thought worked pretty well too. Like all the stuff, and you know they have to stop Starkiller Base, which I do admit is probably like the most similar parts to A New Hope that there is in the movie. But you know I thought that was still pretty cool. The trench run, pretty cool. You know, of course, nothing like doesn't top the original trench run from the first Star Wars movie, but you know, still pretty cool. And seeing Leia again was great. Seeing Luke, I was like, oh my god, this is so awesome. Right at the end of the movie. I know some people were like, oh, is that it? You're just going to stand there and not talk? They're just so excited just for that. I was like, yes. And also seeing Han Solo and Chewbacca once again was great. I was sad to see Han Solo die, but I can understand why they killed off his character. I thought that was a pretty good moment and a pretty dramatic moment. Probably one of the sadder moments in the entire series. And overall, yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid movie, you know? Like, I don't think it was better than the original trilogy, but I still thought it was a good addition to the series and a good solid start to a trilogy. So, next we're going to be going into Rogue One, which is the first of the anthology films. And I really like the idea of anthology films just to kind of round out the canon a little more, just to give it some more like meats in between movies and whatnot. And so we start off with Rogue One. Now I felt like in the beginning when I first saw the movie that it is a little jumpy and the pacing is a little weird with how much like jumps around from character to character, but it levels out as the movie goes on. Like it doesn't stay all wacky and stuff. But yeah, I feel like overall it was pretty darn good. Especially the second half of the movie was just so great. That was probably like the really strong part. The beginning part was pretty good too. It's a fairly good start, and then it really just amps it up and gets to it in the second half. It feels kind of like a World War II movie is what I've heard described it as, and I guess I'd have to agree because it kind of does have that feel a little bit, especially on Scarif, that sequence there with all the fighting and stuff. The new characters were good. Jyn was pretty good. I feel like she could have been rounded out a little more, but you know, overall, she's pretty good. Cassian was also pretty good too. I'm interested to see what they'll do with him in the series that he's getting. Interesting choice, but I'm interested to see what they'll do since he's been a rebel for a while. And all the other characters too were good as well. The side characters and stuff like Bodhi and stuff, he was awesome. And then Baz, and I think his name is Chirrut or something like that. Those are good characters too. I love them. The two guys that used to guard the Jedi Temple. Those are really great characters. I love them. And yeah. Oh, speaking of emotional sequences, this movie has some emotional sequences too. A lot of emotion packed up into this movie. And I really liked Galen Erso too, the father of Jin. He was good. And yeah, I thought this movie overall was a pretty solid movie. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was like, of course, like topped any of the original trilogy. Of course, I still think the original trilogy is better than all of the movies. But I still think it was a pretty good movie. And I just feel like, yeah, it was probably one of the best movies to come out of this new wave of Star Wars. And yeah, just overall, I thought it was just pretty solid movie. Alright, so here we go. We're moving on to The Last Jedi. Alright, so I rewatched this recently. I still really enjoy this movie. I am one of those people that does like the movie. I do admit there are some faults with the movie, specifically Canto Bites. I feel like that could have been shaped a little better maybe, or I don't know how they would fix that honestly, but they could have fixed it, but they didn't. And then Luke's character. I know Luke's character is something that people don't really like. He's just like such a grumpy old man. Jeez. But you know, I was alright with that. I was perfectly fine with that. You know, like yeah, I was fine with that because I was like, alright, you know, he's probably gonna get his redemption in the end of the movie, and he does. Yeah, but then he dies, so I don't know. But that was a weird choice. I personally would have kept him alive until episode 9, and then you can kill him there. But yeah, I feel like he needed some more time. Like, he had his, like, first part of his arc, you know, his grumpy arc, and now he's past that, and he's like, alright, you know what, the Jedi do need to survive, and he's like, and then you get to his second part, but his second part is cut short. It goes by really fast, so I feel like that's also a little bit of a problem there. But overall, though, I thought Luke was good in the movie, you know? I feel like maybe it would have been better, perhaps, to take the safer route and go with him being like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll help you, Rey. But, like, not right away, but, like, where it has enough time to, like, set in, but it's not like most of the movie, if you know what I'm trying to say here. But, yeah, I feel like this movie took a risk, and it paid off for some people, and it didn't pay off for other people. But, yeah, this wasn't a movie that I feel like, you know, followed the same formula as The Force Awakens, where it just kind of played it safe. This one, of course, like I just said, it took some risks. So, yeah, I appreciate that they did do that, even though it divided the fan base a little bit. But, yeah. Okay, so there's also another problem I have. You know the sequence where Rey and Kylo get together on in the throne room of Snoke? And, you know, like, he's like, and turns on the blade, unites the blade, and kills his enemy or whatever, you know. I feel like the problem with that scene is that it just shows, it's, like, so obvious that what Kylo's gonna do. I feel like what they should have done is made it a surprise. Like, just show Snoke or something or whatever, and then, like, not actually show the lightsaber turning towards him, and then, like, just it igniting, and, like, Snoke's like, oh my god, and he dies. I feel like that would have been better. Like, it's pretty obvious what he's gonna do, but I feel like that would have made it less obvious, but it's probably still pretty obvious. But, you know, it just would have made it, I feel like that scene would have been better in that way. But, you know, that sequence is pretty darn awesome too, you know, just so cool seeing them fighting together. And you kind of feel like, oh, Kylo's going to be a good guy now. But then he's like, no, I'm even more bad now. And, yeah, thought that was good. I like DJ's character, you know, DJ. He's played by Benicio del Toro. I thought he was a great character. I'd love to see some more of him. I don't know if he survived though. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna look that up actually. See, DJ Star Wars. You also have Rose, which I know people don't really like Rose, but not everyone, of course, doesn't like. Not everyone likes Rose. Not everyone doesn't like Rose, but I do. Yeah, I thought she was pretty good. She wasn't my favorite character in the movie, but I didn't think she was bad or anything. I thought she was pretty good. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't see anything that says he died or not, because, like, you don't really see him after that sequence where, like, the ship explodes and stuff, so I don't know. But I kind of hope he's alive. I thought he was good, DJ. But anyways, so, yeah, overall I thought Last Jedi was pretty darn good. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, there are problems, but I feel like overall the good outweighs the bad, I'd say. But the bad does hurt the movie a little bit. Alright, so the last thing we're going to be talking about here today is Solo. Now, I really enjoyed Solo. I thought it was a fun movie. You know, I wasn't really sure what to expect when I went into it, like how everyone would do and stuff, like as their younger characters, like Alden Ehrenreich. I was like, It's like, you know, I feel like they should have gone with Anthony and Gruber when I first saw it. I was like, you know what? Yeah. But then I really got used to him, and I really enjoyed the movie. Now, okay, there's one thing that I find kind of weird with the movie is that, how like it's kind of like dark. If you look at the movie, like the cinematography is a little dark, like all of the, not necessarily the cinematography I should say, but just like the color grading is a little dark, so it's a little harder to see things, which is kind of interesting in some scenes. But anyways, yeah, it's just a little technical problem that I have with the movie. But overall, I thought it was a fun ride. I thought it was just a fun movie, good Star Wars movie. You know, not of course like better than any of the sequels, or even better than the, well, actually, no, I say probably is maybe better than the prequels. Probably better than Episode 3, maybe? I don't know. But I like the heist theme of the movie, the whole overall, like, we're pulling off a heist and stuff. I thought that was a great way to do Han Solo. And the new characters were great, too. I like Beckett. Beckett was really good, too. He's a nice trickster character as well. A nice mentor that's also really a bad guy. Seeing Lando was great, too. I love Lando, of course. And I'm really excited to see him in Episode 9. It's going to be great. Yeah, Kira was a good character too. The ending was pretty interesting too with Darth Maul. And what else was I gonna say? Dryden Voss, he was pretty cool too. He's played by Vision himself. That was cool to see him in the movie. And just seeing how Han Solo came to be, like his origin and stuff, I thought that was interesting. Yeah, and I feel like I said before, the story was pretty good. I wouldn't say, like I said before, I wouldn't say it's the best. I don't even know if I like it more than Rogue One, but I do like it a lot. I think it's just a fun and entertaining movie to watch and enjoy, you know? So I think that about does it. I'm not really going to talk about Rise of Skywalker. We'll make a separate video for that. I don't really have too many like predictions or anything. I have some ideas and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I am excited for the movie. I feel like it could be the redemption that the series needs, because like the fan base is a little bit of a mess right now, but I hope this brings it all together. If not, then we do have some more stuff in the future, like The Mandalorian. I feel like that's going to be great. The next season of Clone Wars, that should be great as well. So yes, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.